The world now wants India to use its tremendous geopolitical, diplomatic and strategic weight to solve vexing problems of the day, and one of the most vexing problems of the day is the Russia-Ukraine war. But if you want to have a peace summit and you're talking about peace between Russia and Ukraine and you have Zelensky but you don't have Putin, how does that work? In this case, the world wants Prime Minister Modi to intervene. The world wants Prime Minister Modi to talk. This deal is between India and Russia, and the deal is that in case of a war, Russia should be able to use India's shipyards and India's ports and docks. Oil will be one major discussion point. Number two, transfer of technology for Russian weapons. Now, India is getting offers. But slowly, India is moving towards the West. This is something that Russia does not particularly like. But there is nothing Russia can do about it. Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, Prime Minister Modi is going to be visiting Russia next month. That is July 2024. PM Modi will meet President Putin. Now, when did this happen? Dr. S. Jaishankar had gone to Moscow in December last year, and Moscow extended an invitation to Prime Minister Modi, which was accepted by Dr. Jaishankar on behalf of the Prime Minister. And now, after the elections, Russia becomes the first country to which Prime Minister Modi will visit. Now, you'll say, why first? Hasn't Prime Minister Modi already visited Italy? But that was not a visit to Italy per se. It was not a bilateral. This was for G7. So when you talk about the Prime Minister of India visiting a country for the first time after taking oath as the Prime Minister of India for the third time, it is basically to Russia. Russia becomes the first country. And why is that important? I think it has a lot to do with geopolitics and the way the world is looking at India. Today, the world is increasingly pushing India. There were times when India had pushed back. The world wanted India to actually speak up and do something in world matters, but India was for a very long time busy in its own affairs. And we followed a policy of not intervening and not interfering in other countries' affairs. We followed that policy. If we follow it even today, we've followed it forever. But the world now wants India to use its tremendous geopolitical, diplomatic and strategic weight to solve vexing problems of the day, and one of the most vexing problems of the day is the Russia-Ukraine war. Very recently, there was a summit which India also attended. This peace summit was in Switzerland. Over 90 countries were there, representatives of over 90 countries. They sat in Switzerland, and the representative of those 90 countries sat down together to deliberate upon how peace could be achieved between Russia and Ukraine. But the summit was a big flop. There weren't any tangibles, there were no takeaways, there was no declaration, there was nothing of that sort except for the fact that, a normal declaration that we should aim for peace and the world should come together, etc. Just heavy words, no action at all. And why is that? That was because in that peace summit, ideally it should have been 90 or 100 countries. 90 or 100 countries in a neutral venue. There should be Zelensky on one side and there should have been Putin on the other side. And world leaders, the G20 there. And then people saying, sort out your issues. But if you want to have a peace summit and you're talking about peace between Russia and Ukraine and you have Zelensky but you don't have Putin, how does that work? In this case, the world wants Prime Minister Modi to intervene. The world wants Prime Minister Modi to talk. Very recently, Prime Minister Modi had a chat with Zelensky. You must have all seen the photos, He was in Italy and Zelensky was also invited there, and in Italy, sidelines of the G7 summit, both of them had a brief chat. They spoke about a lot of issues, including the Russia-Ukraine war. Then you have Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor of the United States of America, coming to India and meeting Prime Minister Modi. This was the first big visit after Prime Minister Modi's re-election. This was the first big visit from the USA. The National Security Advisor of the US, no less, he met our National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval. He met Dr. S. Jaishankar, and of course he called on the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. And there they decided upon a lot of things, including transfer of technology, including green initiatives, including climate change, space, artificial intelligence. They spoke about a lot of things. They spoke about trade and commerce. They spoke about a lot of things. But I'm very sure, because this was not discussed in the media, but I'm very sure one of the things that they discussed was also the Russia and Ukraine war. Prime Minister Modi is amongst the very few leaders in the world, very few, I mean, you can count them on the finger of one hand, people who Putin will listen to, and people who actually matter. Like, for example, Putin may pick up Kim Jong's phone call, but Kim Jong accounts for nothing. He will pick up the call of the president of Iran, but the president of Iran accounts for nothing. You know, he might speak to the head of state of Vietnam, but what does Vietnam account for? Nothing. But who are the heavy hitters in the world? One of the heavy hitters in this world, in this little geopolitical environment, is India. And India is positioned, uniquely positioned, to make peace between Russia and Ukraine. And this is one of the reasons why the Prime Minister will go to Russia next month. There is also this thing about having signed a deal for a logistics base. This deal is between India and Russia, and the deal is that in case of a war, Russia should be able to use India's shipyards and India's ports and docks for their logistics. And similarly, in case of a war, India should be able to use Russian ports and docks or logistics bases in times of war. But who's India going to fight with? In the long run, just think about it. Close your eyes, think of the map of the world and see who will India fight with so that India can use Russia's bases. Who's that enemy? And who's that enemy that Russia will fight with so that Russia could use India's bases? Think about that, and then this entire fog is going to become more clear and you'll see the light of the day. If India has a war with China, it will require a Russian base, or it may require a Russian base. But if India has a war with Pakistan, there is no Russia factor. But also consider the fact, will Russia actually allow, irrespective of the signatures and irrespective of the deal with Russia, actually allow India the use of a base if it knows that India is going to launch offensive operations against China from that base? Think about that too. So these are very, very complex issues, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm trying to bring some sort of sanity and clarity into this entire debate. Putin's aide, Yuri Ushakov, has confirmed that Russia is preparing to welcome the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. This is what they said in a press statement. And what do you think they're going to discuss? Number one, oil. Oil will be one major discussion point. Number two, transfer of technology for Russian weapons. Now, India is getting offers, right, from the Americans. And American equipment and weapons are far superior to anything that the Russians have seen. And I'm not saying that the Russian weapons are not effective. I'm just talking about technology. American technology is far, far superior. And Americans are saying, hey, Striker, go ahead. GE engine, go ahead. You know, M777 howitzer, go ahead. You want the Javelin anti-tank missile? Go ahead. They are saying, take transfer of technology, make in India, do whatever you want. Why is America doing that? America is doing that because America wants India to be in a powerful enough position to take on China. And also, to create some sort of an environment in the Indo-Pacific, you know, because everybody's been talking about a rules-based order. But rules can only be implemented if you have somebody overlooking that entire area. And who's here? India is America's biggest partner in this side of the world. And India is going to tell Russia, you know, today, ladies and gentlemen, while we manufacture BrahMos in India, you all know about BrahMos, know how important it is. But if we decide to sell the BrahMos to any country, we have to take Russia's permission. We have to take Russia's permission to sell the BrahMos. For every single thing that we have to take Russia's permission. Even though we are making many parts inside India. But that core technology is with Russia, and Russians have given it to us for use, but we need Russian permission to sell. America is coming up with plans by which there is complete transfer of technology. They're saying, take it all. So essentially what the Americans are saying is, don't worry, we'll give you complete TOT, 100% transfer of technology you can make in India, and the platform that we're giving you, that is India, are very well aware that this is far, far superior to whatever the Russians may have, which is true. It's superior. So where does that leave the India and Russia relationship, especially in terms of weapons? Because more than 65% of the weapon platforms that we have in our armed forces are of Russian origin. T-72, T-90, the AK series, your MiGs, all these are Russian platforms. But slowly and slowly, India is moving towards the West. This is something that Russia does not particularly like. But there is nothing Russia can do about it. So what do you think the Indians are going to tell the Russians next month? Hey, Americans are giving us state-of-the-art stuff. We are buying state-of-the-art stuff from the Americans. They are saying, hey, here is complete transfer of technology, but you are not giving us transfer of technology. Why not? Why not? Why can't we have complete transfer of technology of BrahMos? Because the Americans will give us Stryker, they'll give us everything, and we'll pay them money for it. But we will own that technology. Tomorrow, if India decides to make Strykers in India if it makes Strykers, right? India can use it and India can also export it worldwide. It becomes India's product. Technically speaking, BrahMos is not yet India's product completely. There is Russian control. And the Russians have been extremely cooperative. There is no doubt about that. The Russians have been extremely cooperative. They've been working very well. I'm just talking about technicalities. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister's visit to Russia next month assumes extreme importance for three factors. Number one, the Russia-Ukraine war. Number two, oil diplomacy. And number three, most importantly, weapons that India will buy from Russia or Russian technology, which will be transferred completely, a transfer of technology to India, and then it will result in, better make in India, better Atmanirbhar Bharat. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to the question and answers. And the first question is, Anonymous Fellow Indian. Anonymous Fellow Indian, he says, why suddenly USA is offering India the Javelin anti-tank missile? That is that India has also produced the shoulder-fired top-attack 4th generation fire and forget anti-tank missile that is having a longer range and more accuracy than Javelin missile. Indian missile also operates in all weather, day and night, moving targets, and is better than USA Javelin in all respects, and also costs less than 1/4 cost of the Javelin missile. USA does not want Indian missile to be mass produced and take away the USA market of Javelin missile. Anonymous Fellow Indian. Sir, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm from the infantry and I have no clue what you just said. You're saying that India has also produced a shoulder-fired top-attack 4th generation fire and forget anti-tank missile. Arey Baba. Which is this missile, sir? Can you please tell me the name? Because we have ATGMs in the infantry, right? We have ATGMs and we have the 84mm Carl Gustav rocket launcher. Nag is not shoulder-fired. Helena is not shoulder-fired. Then which is this missile, this mystery missile that you're talking about, 4th generation, that India has produced, which is better than Javelin? It shoots day and night, can sort of engage with targets day and night, longer distance, all the things that you're praising this so-called missile. Please enlighten us and tell us this missile's name, because I have never heard of such a missile with India. You're saying shoulder-fired anti-tank. This is what you're saying. Fire and forget. Our ATGMs are wire-guided, by the way. I'm just telling you. They are not fire and forget, they are wire-guided. Our ATGMs that the infantry uses. And then you have an 84mm Carl Gustav, which is hardly smart. It is just a projectile that goes with an explosive and crushes anything in its path. So please tell me the name of this missile, because I don't know. Honestly speaking, I don't know. Kindly educate. MB Ganesh Murthy says, is USA a reliable partner for defense supply? Self-reliance is the only solution and shall be the strategy. USA is a reliable partner if you get complete transfer of technology, which is what India is taking from the US. Complete transfer of technology. Yes, there are some things which we require, which the US will not transfer immediately, but otherwise, this is what India is aiming, whether it's the Stryker, M777, the GE engines, or any other thing. This is what India is trying. Transfer of technology. Abhijit Ghosh, why does India need to procure Javelin, Stryker? Major, what is the matter these days? You are batting too much for foreign mal. when we have similar tested systems. Indian Army को क्या देसी माल पसंद नहीं? Abhijit Ghosh, can you please tell me the Indian version of Javelin? First of all, I'd like to understand, Abhijit Ghosh, what is your understanding of Javelin? What is the Javelin? And how does the Javelin work? What the Indian Army likes or does not like is irrelevant. Forget about it. I want to ask you, what does the Javelin do? You are saying you have, when we have similar tested systems, please tell me what is the Indian variant of Javelin? Kindly tell me. I would like to be educated. And what is the Indian variant of Striker? Remember, Striker is an offensive platform. Please don't say Tata Crystal. Okay? Please don't say Mahindra 8x8. Those are armored personal carriers, right? Those are meant for carrying troops. They might have weapons for local security or immediate security. Striker has a smoothbore gun. A Striker is also a tank killer. Is the Tata Crystal a tank killer? Please tell me. Is it a tank killer? Does it have motors on top? Strikers have motors. Strikers can shoot, 5 to 8 kilometers through the motors, indirect fire, moving. Strikers have that capability and much, much more. Let's be very honest. We have in India, we have nothing, absolutely nothing in the anti-tank realm that comes close to the Javelin. We have nothing. I don't know why people are spreading such rumors that ye hai, aisa hai. The Indian Army does not like this thing. Why not? Hasn't the Indian Air Force mass bought the Tejas? Hasn't the Indian Navy said that all the 65 ships that are being built are all made in India? Similarly, isn't the AK-203 being built in India for the Indian Army? Hasn't the Indian Army very recently said that we'll give orders for ASMI and the Northern Command has ordered the ASMI submachine guns? The fact of the matter is that our local manufacturing system is still at a very nascent stage. Please understand this. Please understand the dilemma that we are in. Many people don't understand. Somebody tells them something on WhatsApp and they say, oh, this thing is going wrong. Nothing is going wrong. Relax. Think about it this way. Today you need a system. People are building systems. Tata Crystal, fantastic platform. The Mahindra 8x8 that people are talking about, absolutely great. Right? But they are not offensive platforms. You can't kill tanks with them. The Striker is a tank killer. Right? You have to understand these nuances, these differences, because it's very easy to say, people generalize that. And I've heard these questions so many times, and I've answered so many times. But people have somehow got it into their hearts and minds that we have a system and we are not using it. Are we mad? That we want to waste precious dollars when we have a system. You said that we have a, system like Javelin. Abhijit Ghoshji, I would really like to request you, please tell me which system does the Indian Army, Navy or Air Force have which is like the Javelin? Kindly tell me. I'll be grateful to be enlightened. Thank you. Ranbir Sarkar, recently there have been reports of French asking 2,000 crores for each Rafale M. Don't you think that the price is exorbitant for a 4.5 generation aircraft? India could easily get 5th generation aircraft like F-35 at this price. Don't you think India should go for F-35 rather than Rafale M? Ranbir Sarkar. Ranbir Sarkar ji, the price of Rafale M has not yet been decided. The negotiations are underway, right? I don't know where you got this figure of 2,000 crores. I have no idea because I don't know the price. Nobody knows the price. The Rafale M, which is the marine version, the naval version, it's still ongoing and it will go on till the end of the year. These things take time. So all these are, I don't know whether you've read it on social media or mainstream media, people spread all sorts of fake news. I don't know the price of the Rafale M. I don't know. And that's as honest as I can be. When it's decided, then we'll come to know. Then what you must do is also compare what you're getting. Let's say it's not 2,000 crores, let's say 1,000 crores, or whatever, X crores. I don't know. So X crores. What do you want? First of all, why is the naval version more expensive than the regular Rafale? What features does it have? Does it have additional features which can enable it to take off and land from an aircraft carrier? Think about it, right? You have also here said that F-35, right? Yes. Can you get an F-35? Of course you can get an F-35. I don't know the price of an F-35, but yeah, maybe you can get an F-35. But you already have a Rafale. Or you have 2 squadrons of Rafale in the Air Force. Don't you think it's smarter to get Rafales in the Navy also, so that you have a similar ecosystem? Why would you want 15 different kind of aircrafts? The entire idea is to have similar platforms. Similar platforms means less cost. You're only looking at the capex. And that capex also that you've quoted is highly incorrect. You're only looking at the capex. You also need to look at the operating expenditure. Every time an aircraft takes off, whether from land or from an aircraft carrier, it costs thousands of dollars for every single practice sortie. And I'm not even talking about war, I'm talking about daily when the fighter pilots take off and land and all that, their daily business. Every single day, it costs thousands upon thousands of dollars for one single aircraft. You have to look at long term also. And similarly, simply saying F-35, F-35, if you want to take it for the Air Force, yeah, that is one thing. But let's not confuse it with the M version. That is for something else. The roles are different. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.